Hello and welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland Live. We are not an Arsenal podcast. We're not even an Arsenal ladies podcast after their result earlier as well. We've now been looking across to find other Arsenal teams around the world to support. The best we can do is either Arsenal in Argentina, who drew versus Boca Juniors 1-1 yesterday, or Arsenal Kiev, who haven't played since July. Either of those were better results than what we saw, I think, in our game. But let's introduce I've got two people with me today. One, because we needed somebody, and I'll introduce him first, who knows what Arsenal were like when we were this shit before. Dani, say hello.
Hello, Josh. Hello. Can I say John's here, or should we say that as a surprise?
It's too late now.
Hello, John.
Hello.
Well, I could say Christopher Highland in the chat box. He has a lot of information on Arsenal de Sarandi. I'm sure I butchered their name, but he's got
Chris is
a
there
about them. Yeah,
because he lived in South America for about 4 years, and he loved Argentina. And I keep asking him to come on the podcast because he lives in he's Norwegian Brighton lad.
Nice. He has got the most splendid upside down head I've ever seen on a man.
You should watch. I don't know if he wants to put his Instagram on, but he goes for living in Norway. He goes for magnificent. He once walked from one side of Norway to the other with his dog to go and see his brother, and it took him 3 days, something like that. And so, if you want Scandi porn, Chris Highland is your man.
Okay, thanks. And I also confirmed to Joshua Page and everyone else that's watching. Chris did watch Leon PSG. He did not watch Arsenal. Yeah. Where should we start, John, on this? The first half.
The lineup, I guess.
I mean, yeah.
There was lots of Twitter rage. Hello, everyone. Sorry. Yeah, we're not doing anything properly tonight because who could be fucking bothered? I'd rather talk about Scandi porn, and that even actually do mean the scenery of Scandinavia and not actual porn than that football game. Yeah, the lineup wasn't a surprise to me personally, but I saw lots of people upset that Xhaka was in the team again. There was no Nelson or Willock or Maitland-Niles or any of those players. Arteta made it pretty clear before this game that those players were being rested for the Premier League game and they weren't going to be using the Europa League. So it was no shock for me that they came back in. A little disappointed maybe if, Nelson didn't get on the bench perhaps, but look, he put Nketiah on there, he put Willock and he put Smith Rowe as well. So I guess that's still some youth on the bench. I don't really know what else to say about the lineup. It was just shit, wasn't it? It was 5 minutes of that game that was really good, and it was from like the second half until Xhaka got sent off, and that was it.
Yeah, I think the greatest thing we should say as well. Thank you, Michael Hahnemann or Mike Hahnemann, for slipping £5 into Danny's bra. He has to wear one now, a training bra.
I've been on the diet, cheeky kid, and he's in our Discord.
I know as well. And also Gabriel, not that one, and no, not the other one either, has dropped £5 into us all. The Angel Gabriel, maybe. I'm not sure.
Did you read what they wrote, or shall I bring them up again?
Yeah, Mike had enough of Granit Xhaka. He doesn't ever want to see him in an Arsenal shirt ever again.
For £5, we can do that. Done.
Yeah, that's all right.
And Gabriel Gourmet Kaufman
has said, well, you lose some, you lose some. This can go towards the therapy you'll need watching us this season in order to provide us with content and a lovely love heart for us.
Did he accuse ABW of offering up content?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it looks like potentially either that's the emoji of a heart or he said that we provided less than 3 content generally.
Less than 3 is actually our content level.
Less than 3 in the years we've been doing it is probably about accurate for
I think
quality content anyway. Yeah.
I think we can say we've done 2 pieces of content, definitely.
Yeah.
Since I have. Well, where should we really go? Because the first half, I don't think we really had a shot. Chris Wood had a shot, but he missed. It came off his shoulder, and he shouted at a Burnley player because he missed it. And that was just before the stat came up, which I'm blaming Sky for this, that said that Burnley have only scored 5 goals this season. And of course, straight after, they get a free header in the box. Rob Holding's still looking at that stat because they probably put it on the big screen and he's reading it. That's why he's nowhere to be seen. And then we go into...
We would have had a shot in the first half had Lacazette connected with... which is possibly the slowest ball that's ever come into him, and he still managed to kick the air instead of the actual ball, which I think actually is quite impressive and very difficult to do. So maybe that's what we're paying him for.
Yeah, we thought when we were buying Lacazette, we were, getting a more potent version of like Olivier Giroud, and what it turns out, we've just got the French Welbeck.
To be fair, Welbeck could have scored a goal by now.
Yeah, it would have gone in off his arse, to be fair. And he's scoring for Brighton, but although not this evening. And he did have that other opportunity as well, shouldn't we? He did manage to get a shot on target, but then you've got arguably quite a good, well, would you say? I'd say it's England's best goalkeeper, but that's not that difficult. You basically got to...
Pope is quite a good goalkeeper. He pulled off a few decent saves tonight.
Yeah, which did kind of worry me in general, that, there's quite a decent goalkeeper and we're quite shot shy.
We've had a...
we have. Sorry. Jim Howson's come in with £2. Give it to Chris till the end of the season. Oh, fuck no, he's not watched any of our games. He'll be
he doesn't know who any of our players are.
Yeah, he's not even watching. Chris will probably go, I'm going to play Ozil, Guendouzi. He'll probably try and select Monreal. He hasn't got a clue what the squad is. Yeah.
He'll build the team around Granit Xhaka as well, because that's his favourite player. Well, we can say that because we know he's not watching, and he told us that he hates him.
How about a positive note from Adam Hopkins? There you go, Josh.
Oh, yeah. Who saw the retro merch ad? We are now better at selling old kit because, nostalgia sells. So if you're doing shit, no better way of selling it by reminding people when we used to be good.
The best thing about that advert is probably the look on Thomas Partey's face of complete confusion, which is probably his permanent face now he's at Arsenal, just watching that team on the pitch.
He thought he'd signed for the Argentinian Arsenal.
Yeah, he just thought, hang on a minute, I just ran away from that absolute psycho at Madrid in Simeone. This might be a little bit more relaxed. What the fuck is this shit? Yeah.
If you did a wonderful picture for us, he was bored and he did a new ABW logo, and Arteta had pink hair from the pink kit a couple of years ago, and Divyun has put more kits than wins this season. Oh no!
Oh dear, that's a sorry state of affairs. I'd like to even argue that, but I can't. Especially in the league. Season. Oh, blimey! Yeah.
Should we? So there's two talking points in the game. It's obviously the sending off and the goal.
And the other sending off that wasn't a sending off that probably should have been a sending off.
If Elneny still had his way, he'd still be rolling around on the pitch now, screaming that he's been shot when he wasn't touched.
Yeah.
Elneny's livid because he had plans with Xhaka for Christmas after he'd gone off. He'd had 3 games there. He's like, it's fine. We're going off to the south of France. See you later. No.
Oh, Jesus. First half, Chris Wood probably should have scored because Leno was rooted, and Lacazette should have at least hit the target with the ball that came across to him that he didn't do anything with. But that was basically the first half. Nothing happened. Again, it was all slow. No one was moving the ball. Every time Willian ran inside, Aubameyang had already moved before that, so there was no one else making a move. Lacazette was too slow to move into a forward position or make a run for him, and Saka was the only one who looked again like he could make anything in the game. Second half, I actually thought we were good up until the sending off, because second half we had 4 shots, I think, before the sending off, and we were actually pressing Burnley and moving the ball quicker, and it was like, oh, okay. I was feeling a bit more upbeat. I thought, we're going to get something out of this game now. It's fine. We'll get a win. It might not be that pretty. The first half was boring as shit. I was almost falling asleep. I was genuinely considering talking about cricket on here, and I fucking hate cricket. It is the most boring sport in the world. But I just thought, we'll just talk about that. The second half is all going really well. And then Xhaka. I assume none of us have an argument with the red card.
Sorry, Danny. Go on.
No, you can do it. I'm busy pressing buttons. I
gonna-
should discreetly say before you do that, K-Man1867 has subscribed for 3 months in a row with his Amazon Prime.
Nice one, K-Man. We know it costs you nothing to do that, and it just means a little bit more for us. So if anybody does fancy doing that, because imagine like the next Arsenal home game, Southampton, just in the first half, because fuck all will happen in that. Just go and subscribe to all of our channels, and then you'll be ready for us when we come live and talk about another loss. But yeah, I thought that it wouldn't become a red, because when you see it back and you see how close the referee is, he basically sees it and then dishes out a yellow card. So I assumed the yellow card was probably for that. But then when he comes and replaces it with a red card, you're like, well, that's fair enough. Got the guy by the throat.
It was close enough to that incident. And if that had happened on a street outside of a pub, he'd have got 6 months for that, for joining on the assault. That's how close it was. But I never knew that the referee could, what happened when a referee has given someone a yellow and then changed it to red. They get the yellow out again, put the yellow away, and then give the red. So that was a straight red, wasn't it?
Yeah, rescinded the yellow. But that's a new rule with VAR. But yeah, look, there's no argument for it. The foul Xhaka makes in the build-up, I know people will go, oh, it's a terrible challenge. And it was. But I think he's done the right thing in that he's trying to stop Burnley create a breakaway, because we were pushing a lot more forwards. So sometimes you take a yellow card, you make a stupid tackle. I didn't have an issue with that. He's obviously got a little bit up in the guy's face and they're arguing back and forth, and another Burnley player runs in and they're all back and forth and whatever with each other. But you cannot put your hands in someone's face or go to their throat, or unless you're Mohamed Elneny, apparently. But you cannot definitely grab someone around the throat. It's more frustrating after you've got the Pepe thing that happened and how much Arteta ripped into him for that. So you already know, but don't do something stupid. And to be fair to Arteta, he has basically come out and said, Xhaka cost us the game. Because before that red card, the start of the second half, we were playing much better football. It's not the football we all want to see and want to watch every week, but it was quicker, it was more intense. We were actually getting chances, we were getting shots on goal, and I thought something was going to happen. The moment we dropped to 10 men, just fucking stupidity. The one thing I will say is now everyone will get their wish, right? Pepe's now available again, so you can pick him. Bellerin's got his 5th yellow card, so he won't be playing next week, and Xhaka can't play now. So you might end up with, I don't know, Ceballos, Elneny, or Maitland-Niles right back, or something. You're going to get those players in the team. Now, what I'm going to say to you now is you're going to see why those players wouldn't be first pick normally, because they're not good enough either. So don't expect things to change that much. I don't know about you, but I thought even with 10 men, to be honest, up until Burnley scored, I still thought we were playing pretty well, and we're the better team.
Yeah, I think it was like, it sounds strange, a bit more helpful that we got someone sent off, because it meant Burnley then started to come out and leave spaces.
Yeah, they opened up a bit more. Yeah, you saw a couple of times, didn't you? Aubameyang getting actually in behind the defence. We could play a bit more direct if we needed to. But,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But there is something missing from that centre of the park that I think, one, we would have got it with Thomas Partey if he was fit, is that he kind of offers a third man option in the final third. Like, you saw it so many times that Willian was passing it to Bellerin, and then Bellerin would pass it back to Willian, and there was no one inside for him to do it, because the only option is then just to cross into the box. And we're missing someone supporting from that point. And I think we do have to look at the manager. I think that's something we've got to be doing. You can't shy away from it and say, oh, well, the players are shit. But I think that's one thing I think that's going to help Arteta in this stay in the job longer.
Yeah. You think he's staying in the job longer? We've got Southampton on form, Everton on form, and Man City and Chelsea coming up who are levels above us. We're not getting any wins from the next 4 games, and 2 of those are going to be at home. So that means we're going to lose 6 games in a row at home, because he isn't turning this round. He's not turning the players round. The players aren't going to turn it round. The only player tonight who actually looked like he gave a shit was Lacazette for the first half hour until he nearly had a coronary because he was playing sweeper striker. Lacazette was as far back as Holding's hairline at times. He'd gone all the way. And Tierney on the left-hand side. And the Tierney was whacking in brilliant balls to that. But I thought, if you watch the entire game and you count, I was actually going to watch it again and write it down. Do it like Leno, Bellerin, Willian, lose control. Then it would be Xhaka, Willian, lose control. Or there'd be Willian corner. And then when they take the corners, it would go Willian, Bellerin, Elneny, back to Willian, cross it in again, lose possession of it. And that's what was happening the entire game. And like you just said, one of you just said that when we went down to 10 men, we were drawing their players out because they were attacking a little bit more. And they were down near our left-hand corner flag. And I'm thinking, right, this is the point at which we should have done this the entire game and drawn them out and then bang, on the counter-attack. And then we saw one thing that just made me, I actually tweeted it, I was really frustrated. And this is where you can see Arteta's game plan. Aubameyang comes through midfield. He's got 2 players either side, ahead of him, either side of him. What would Aubameyang do for 99% of his career? He'd have taken them on, gone through them all around them. He passed it out wide to Bellerin, and Bellerin tried to do the cross and it ended up with nothing. That sums up the entire team. And he's been told to do that. That's not natural for Aubameyang to do that, is it? Aubameyang's natural instinct, like the entire of his career, is to run with the ball, turn players inside because they're going to shit their pants. I mean, at one point during the game, the Burnley players were shouting, "Don't foul him! Don't foul him!" That's why. They had a game plan as well. Their game plan was frustrate, keep it to a 0-0, and hopefully wind us up enough and get the draw. There's no way they come there thinking they were going to get the win. We had a donation, Josh, and a member.
I did see. We have a €5 donation. Ooh. We won't be taking those from the 31st of December. Have you know? No more euros, just sterling for us now until we sort out any other deals, which is from To Be Full. Thanks for the show in advance, guys. We really need to hear you guys suffer with me tonight. Well, we are definitely suffering. And we have a new member as well on the YouTube, Mark Harris. Welcome to the Dirty Pirate. Is that at the Dirty Pirate level?
Yeah, he is a Dirty Pirate.
I can only apologise because you'll never get your bonus because Chris doesn't podcast with us anymore.
Not until we start winning again.
Not until we, yeah. We've got to start winning a few games, and then Granit Xhaka can't be in the team. Lacazette has to have scored, and Chris has had to have watched the last 3 games beforehand. Then he might come on.
Apart from that, it's never going to happen.
Apart from that, it's never going to happen. John, should we talk through the other card incident, should we say, with Elneny?
Yeah, it's very rare that a referee takes pity on us, or any team, to be fair. But I'm fairly sure Graham Scott was probably looking at Arsenal maybe before the game and thought, this is very strange. You know, I know normally they moan about playing against physical teams, but I've sent a player off, and this Egyptian bloke is gone. He's thrown hands in. Whose face was it? I can't remember.
Tarkowski.
Yeah. And then immediately dropped to the floor, looked up to see if the referee's watching, and then dropped his face down to see, pretend he's hurt. Yeah, that could have easily been a red card as well. I don't know why that one was a yellow. I get why Xhaka's was definitely a red, but yeah, dude, very, very weird. Yeah, could have easily been a red card. I think ultimately it didn't really change that much in the game. The thing that frustrates me about this game, and it relates to Arteta and whether he should go or not, I can't put all the blame on Mikel Arteta for this game. And I know that sounds weird because people are going to go, well, it's his fault, all the results. And yeah, I get that. But it's Xhaka's moment of stupidity that ends up costing us the game. Because even with 10 men, we were still creating chances. But if we had 11 on the pitch and the way we're pressing them, it's going to happen. Burnley are going to buckle. We'll get the first goal, and then they're fucked. Burnley aren't going to score. They're going to have to come out. They're going to open more space, and we'll probably get a second, and I think that'll be it. Good night. They're done. But I don't think you can put all of that on the manager. The manager can... Look, he can get his tactics wrong. He can make a squad team selection wrong, all those sort of things. But once a player steps on the pitch, you can't physically control what they do or react to something. You can try and instill that mentality in them. But sometimes they cross the line. He dug Pepe out for it. I think maybe a little bit too harshly. He's done it again tonight with Xhaka. Not as bad as he did with Pepe, so maybe he has learnt from that. But I think he's right in what he said, that, before that point, we were playing really well. We were the better team, creating chances, and looked like we were going to score. Unfortunately, we did score. Aubameyang finally broke his duck, just at the wrong end of the pitch.
I wasn't sure why a penalty wasn't given for, because if it was a foul or a yellow card offence, I wondered why it wasn't a penalty. But then I think I've seen yellows given, for pushing and shoving, and the corners still come in. And knowing Burnley,
because the ball wasn't in play because it was it's gone out. Like we know,
he hadn't taken the corner yet.
Yeah, he hadn't taken the corner, so that might be why there was no. Yeah,
that might have saved them, but otherwise, Burnley probably requested they had a corner instead anyway, because there was more chance of them scoring from just a shot at goal. I think it was odd, and Aubameyang getting the flick on and it going past Leno. Even Martinez wouldn't have saved that.
No.
Chris is having kittens every time Martinez has a good game. Chris just goes mad and they go, see, I told you. He's watching Aston Villa more than he's watching Arsenal. Someone made a good point in the chat, Josh, that maybe Elneny didn't get sent off because Xhaka did. Do you think maybe Elneny would have got a red if Xhaka hadn't?
I'm not sure. I'm surprised he got a yellow. I thought it would have been a red, but I'm not sure what Graham Scott was thinking in general.
Yeah, we got it right. Ball not in play. Even Data said we got it right.
Oh.
And unbelievable, there is a pirate in the chat. So if anyone wants to ask Chris a question about the game, when I say game, I mean, PSG and I don't know who it is they're playing.
Leon.
Yeah. If you want to ask Chris about the game, you've got to ask about that one. You can't ask about the Arsenal game.
Lorient, actually, the French Leighton Orient won 3-0 at the weekend. He's probably doing cartwheels.
Oh, dear.
There you go. Age.
Talking about the actual match itself, it really was those two incidents, and there wasn't much else in it. So the big talking point for me is, I know obviously lots of people said about, you can pick different players, or, Maitland-Niles should have started, or Nelson, or whatever. I don't know if it changes, because it just feels like everything at the club is wrong at the moment. And the way, the attitude, I don't think it's that the players aren't even, I think they are trying. It's just not working right now. So it does come back to the question of, do you stick with the manager or not? I think Danny's right. The next 4 games are obviously huge. I think, look, if he loses the next 4, then he's gone. I think he'll be gone. If he gets a win in one of those and maybe a draw, I think they'll stick with him, get to January and try and do something in the window to try and change things a bit.
What can we do in the window? Players aren't going to want to leave, are they? When Kolasinac is on 180 grand a week because he's a free transfer, he's not going to fuck off back to Germany. And what would he get there? 30, 35 grand a week? There's no way he's going to give up 6 months worth of wages to even play football, because he won't care, will he? He'll be going, well, I'm on 150 grand more here.
Yeah, but I think that it comes to a point where the club go, he's got 6 months left, we'll just have to pay the difference in his wages or something like that with some of the players. Or either a short loan to the club he's going to sign for, so they get him 6 months early, and we just pay his wages whilst he's gone, all that kind of thing. Chris is blaring at us in the chat saying, fuck the window, Danny, coach these players and pick on form, not reputation. It's his damn job. I agree with Chris. You should pick on form. Unfortunately, the form players are good in the Europa League, and our opposition in the Europa League is frankly a joke. I think Chris's Pirates could made you get a win against Dundalk. No disrespect to Dundalk. My big issue with everyone calling for Arteta's head is, who do they think we're going to get in?
I don't want him fired. No.
That's my genuine question: is who on earth are you going to get to come and be manager? It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I said on the last pod that although I don't think Arteta's good for us in the short term, in the long term, he's the right man for us because I think he's got that vision. And from the people that he's brought in, they've done well for us.
Yeah.
We can't say otherwise. Every transfer that's come in under his tenure has done well. And he has...
Because people will start shouting Willian in the chat.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Willian. But you said Willian played well in that first half.
I mean, he was a highest rated player in the first half.
Yeah, I think he did throw in 300 crosses in that first half. There is something on that right-hand side that isn't working properly.
Yeah. I suspect it might be the player behind him less than...
Oh, I don't know. I think it's Willian. He refuses to run in behind anybody. Just likes it to feet and then does a little shimmy. But I think there is a system problem in there, and I think Arteta should have a look at that. We should also say he's not had a pre-season ever to even do this kind of stuff. And I think that's the kind of things in the pros of keeping Arteta column is the fact that he hasn't really had any reasonable length of time to work with the players. If you're then looking on the cons, he's certainly what should we say, blunt when it comes to man management.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah,
I personally don't have a problem with people don't like it, but I haven't got an issue with it. Just quickly on the Willian thing, it really frustrates me that he doesn't get to play at 10. Just put him there and just let him ping the ball about. That'd be much better. As Matt Roberts says in the chat, he's not a winger. So we had a couple of suggestions in the chat box about people you could bring in to replace Arteta. So one was Pochettino. I'd love Pochettino. Ain't happening. He's waiting for the PSG job. Someone else said Allegri. Man cannot speak English. And he's a big money manager who wants a squad that's actually in some sort of state, and going somewhere. So that would be maybe wait till Pep leaves City or take the Juventus job back once Pirlo gets found out a bit. I don't think you're going to get either of those two. And I know people say, oh, but we're the Arsenal and everything else. Our squad at the moment is at best maybe 8th in the league, 7th. We're not going to get much. We are a Europa League team that is not good enough to win the Europa League. That's the thing with that squad. It is a complete and utter shambles. That is not Arteta's fault. He inherited a squad in that mess. That's the fault of previous management and the people above him. The other thing as well is if you do get rid of Arteta, it's who? Edu, who's going to go pick the new manager? I assume it would be Edu who gets that job.
Yeah. Him and Vinyai will probably have a big say in it because the Cronkies probably... Is it unfair to say they wouldn't know?
No, but then I think it's the position of any good chairman that you ask experts who's the best person to come in for that position. So
unfortunately, our expert at Arsenal is Edu. I have nothing against Edu personally. I'm sure he's a very nice man and he was a fantastic player for us. I would not trust him to pick the next manager though, at all.
Well, you know who he'd pick, wouldn't he? He'd pick someone that he played with for a couple of seasons who just got sacked by Nice. We'd have Patrick Vieira.
Yes,
that's the only person we could probably bring in.
At least the players will do as they're told under Vieira, or they're going to get a beating off him.
Well, I think it's the same in Arteta as well.
I don't think you're going to get any better results with Vieira, though. The squad needs a huge overhaul. We've got 9 centre-backs? What squad has 9 centre-backs? It's fucking ridiculous. We've got 9 centre-backs and we've got one number 10 who is not in the squad and is leaving at the end of the season. He's gone. They're just waiting to get rid of him. It's complete mismatch of players. We've got one good centre midfielder who's only just joined in Thomas Partey. If anyone thinks that I love Granit Xhaka, but he's clearly not good enough for the level we want to achieve, and we're not going to play the style of football that suits him, Xhaka is not good enough. Dani Ceballos looks like he comes from Scotland, not from Spain. I've never seen a Spanish footballer with so little technique who can't pass a ball properly. He plays the softest passes I've ever seen. What is the point? Like, I'm not a big Lacazette fan, but the amount of times Ceballos got the ball and tried to pass it to him, and it was 5 yards too short. I don't know if he's trying to get Lacazette to break his leg or something, but Elneny, lovely guy. He will put his performances in, but he's 6 out of 10 every week. You might get a slightly better performance from him if he plays next to Thomas Partey, because Partey will make his job easier.
Well, he's doing Olympic diving now, isn't he, John?
That is not a good centre midfielder. These are players that you would see in the squad of a top 8, top 10 Premier League team. They are not top 4 players.
They're the kind of signings that if Leicester got them, you'd say it would be a coup for Leicester. Basically, like Under, the winger they just signed, we were linked to him.
I don't even know you would say it's a coup for Leicester. Like Xhaka at Leicester, you'd be like, yeah, it's not a bad signing, captain of a national team. But they're not going to be raving about signing Mohamed Elneny, are they? Or fucking Dani Ceballos on loan from Madrid. There's a reason Real Madrid have loaned him out for 2 seasons in a row, because he's not good enough. There's plenty of players in this team. Like Rob Holding, he's all right. I don't think he's amazing, though. He's a decent squad player as a centre-back. We've got serious issues in terms of what the fuck the whole William Saliba deal was all about. I get the compassionate leave thing, because it's a horrible thing to ever have to go through, losing a parent, especially at the ages, and then move country. But we clearly paid far too much money. There's something very strange about that deal. And even Arteta himself admitted he made a mistake in not including him in the Europa League squad. But there's something very strange going on there when he's not even getting a look in. Hector Bellerin has not been right for a while. I don't think it helps that he clearly hasn't got any sort of partnership formed with Willian in front of him. And he seems to be the only player who's playing on the right-hand side. So you've got no partnership there. Cedric Suarez is an okay right-back. He's not amazing. There's 4 players in this entire squad that if you said to me we're going to sell one of those 4, I'd be upset. The rest I could not care less about. And those 4 players is Saka, Gabriel, Partey, and Tierney. That's it. The rest I care absolutely nothing about at all. You could sell every single player in the squad and it would not bother me at all. I would not be sad about it. And that is the first time I can remember an Arsenal team being in that sort of state for a long, long time. And I'm not as old as Dani, but I did grow up watching Arsenal in the early 90s, and it was a little bit shit, especially in the mid-90s. It wasn't great. We weren't amazing. We weren't terrible, but it was pretty fucking boring. And there was loads of players in those squad that I was like, oh, I do not care at all. So the whole squad is a mess. So how anyone thinks a guy who's going to come in as his first job and fix that, I have no idea. Absolutely no idea.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that's another reason why we kind of put another item on the list on the side of a reason to keep Arteta is because with the squad is broken, and I think one thing that we should also kind of highlight as well is something we do throw a lot of shit at the owners for is being out of touch. But one thing they're not out of touch of is how shit the squad is, because we heard Josh Kroenke come out 2 summers ago and say, I looked in the eye of every single player in that Europa League squad, and I could tell. And he's not a football man. He said, he played football in college for them, but he's not done anything in a professional game. But looked them in the eye and knew they didn't have what was needed to be successful athletes at the level that Arsenal are aspiring to. And we've seen the systematic breakup of that team, more or less.
It's slowly happening, Guendouzi being loaned out, or Ozil being frozen out, whether people agree with that or not. Yeah. Socrates being frozen out. It's not the way we wanted it to happen. Obviously, we wanted to get rid of the players completely and get some money back so we could invest it immediately. But we're not in that position because of poor management, senior management, previous to what we've got in place now. Now, I hope Edu and Vinay fix it all and it all becomes wonderful. But you don't fix that in one window. It just can't happen. And the people who slating the Cronkies, they're the ones who said to Edu and Arteta, there's the money, you can go and buy Thomas Partey. They didn't have to say yes to that. They agreed it. They released those funds for that sale and to get that player. So I think it's a little bit, dumb to say the Cronkies have no interest in Arsenal when they just want to strip their money out of them every year, because it just doesn't happen. But okay, Josh, look, you're quite tactically minded. How would you, if you were Arsenal manager, what would you change in the team currently with the players that he's got? What would you do differently to what Arteta's doing?
Well,
I think the one thing, at least we agree on, at least, is that the squad is not a top 4 squad. That's pretty obvious, but it's clearly better than where we are in the league now. We should be performing above the level we are now.
There's some. Well, if we were looking at the past 3 games, because then I don't have to pick Pepe, makes it a little easier for me. I would probably look at, we're ruling out Thomas Partey, and the back 4 I'd keep as it is, because I don't think Holding's done anything wrong, for the reason that he shouldn't be dropped from there. Because David Luiz, no, his brain's broken now. Mustafi, again, not doing anything for us and is in the Europa League squad. Who else have we got right-sided centre-back? That's it. Oh, Callum Chambers is coming back to fitness. And until Holding puts a foot wrong, I see no reason to push anyone else into there. Even William Saliba. People can speculate, would Saliba do a better job than Rob Holding at the moment? But at the moment, Rob Holding's not doing anything for me that says he needs to be dropped. Like, he's not making terrible mistakes. Bellerin, I'd keep Bellerin in place, because I think he's tactically a clever player and can do stuff for us. If you watched in today's game, it was a bit, not weird, it's just Arteta's tactic. He was forming a part of a midfield flat 3 in attack, so he's coming inside, which is why he always looks like he's out of position, in inverted commas, when the ball goes over the top. He's not, it's just where he's been sitting. He's now running back with Xhaka and Elneny, because that's his starting position. So I'd keep that in place. What I would probably do is bring Willian inside, because I think there's no point trying Lacazette in there. It's been a problem for a good couple of seasons. Well, ever since we bought Aubameyang, was the fact that we then had 2 £50 million strikers who we were trying to, force in to the team constantly. We've been crowbarring them in ever since. I think it just needs to go right, one or the other. Willian in the middle. I might put Ceballos out on the right wing. Seems a bit odd. He's done it for Spain, and I know he's got more of a connection with Bellerin than anyone else in the squad, because they've played together before through the national team youth rankings. I'd try him out there on the wing, and at least he's not going to throw in 1,000 crosses, and might try and beat the left back he's up against as well. Put in decent crosses, and then Saka and drop Saka into the midfield. No, I'd have Saka on the wing. Sorry, Aubameyang up top, Willian in the middle with Elneny, and then somebody else who's then fit, basically. So it's basically it would be Xhaka at this point. I don't want him, but then if Partey's there, it's Partey, and there's no question that Xhaka wouldn't be anywhere near the squad. But it's a bit like we saw back in January. I know this seems crazy to think back that far. We only had 2.5 central midfielders, really, in the team. And that's why it was so big that Arteta had to make sure we kept Xhaka, because we just didn't have cover there. If Xhaka left in January, went to Hertha Berlin, he was too busy getting rid of Guendouzi. He was too busy being a little shit. Ceballos was, the Emery Ceballos, not the one we saw in the first half or the second half of last season, where he was absolutely superb for us. And then we had little Lucas, who didn't want to play because Ozil was being a cunt to him in training constantly.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to leave. So, I don't really know what we could do. Like, Arteta's been forced into that thing of the reason why Xhaka's still here, but I think there's certainly scope to move on a lot of players. Arteta did an interview pre-Burnley. I don't know what channel it was shown on because I saw it on, and someone to check out Haters TV on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
They've got it. It was a pre-match interview, and he spoke about the reason why the Europa League team weren't getting into the Premier League team, and it was something about them not showing the levels of maturity that he wanted from them yet.
Yeah.
And I think we all know that this Premier League team is not good enough in the Premier League. But rather than throw the kids in and make them shit, you know, and just lose all confidence, he's kind of building for the future. A bit like we've said for national teams, you know, where you've said, rip it all up and then leave the kids. Or what actually Germany did when they made so successful was they kept a lot of kids back, you know, held them in that under 21s group to build their confidence up, get them to win as a team, and then push them into the national side altogether. And you've got the likes of Khedira, Cruz, Ozil, Schürrle, all came through as a big batch. And I think Arteta might be trying to do something like that.
I mean, what you said earlier, for me, rings perfectly true, that I think long-term Arteta is a very good choice for manager. The question is, because he's so inexperienced, how does he cope with this at the moment? Because it's just going to get worse every week. And the form Southampton are in and the way we're playing makes it very difficult. I'm hoping that because Pepe is available, that he comes back in the team, although I didn't think he was particularly amazing against Dundalk. But then, I don't know, maybe he was just bored because it was, you know, not a particularly exciting. It's a dead rubber, essentially, of a game. But if Pepe does come back in, I know everyone hates Willian, but if you're going to play him, just play him at 10. It's the only place I want to see him play. I don't want to see him play anywhere else on the pitch. Just put him.
I just get fed up with him being the only avenue to doing anything. Always down the right-hand side, doing the 3-point corners or crossing it to no one. Like someone said recently, Aubameyang has only scored 3 headers. That's not his game. He's got a dodgy Barnet going on here with all that spray and stuck down hair. He doesn't want to be doing any headers.
It's not just. I know everyone says, we've done loads of crosses, and we have done a ridiculous amount of crosses. You can still cross along the ground as well, which we saw a couple of times.
Tierney did. Yeah,
we've seen Tierney do it, we've seen Bellerin do it, we've seen Willian do it, and sometimes, and the forwards aren't always making the runs or the movement for him. Just think, if Willian's going to play, for me, just play him at 10. Otherwise, don't play him. Is this, like, for me, is the standout thing. I think. Look, Bellerin's suspended now, which means I assume Cedric would play Wednesday. The one good thing about that is that he's actually played with Pepe quite a bit for the Europa League games, and they seem to have a decent understanding. So our right-hand side might be a little bit more solid, and obviously he should know Southampton a bit as well. The question then becomes, does Arteta drop, Lacazette or Saka? I wouldn't drop Saka. I would drop Lacazette and I would put Willian at 10, which I know would annoy people. Lacazette at 10 just doesn't work for me. And I tell you what, even if people didn't want that, then drop Aubameyang and put Lacazette as the striker. Whatever it is. But something in the team needs to change. They just need to get a win, even if it's a complete fluke. Just something, because it's just so going downhill. And the other thing is, well, it's not like the players are even downing tools or anything. They're doing what the manager's asking for, and they clearly back him and support him. So, I don't know. It's weird. Here, Dani, it's a question. Aubameyang was obviously scored loads of goals from the left-hand side. Would you put him back out there rather than through the middle?
There's going to be some point where you're going to have to keep going. Like if you're superstitious or things like that, then you think, well, I'm going to go back and do everything the way I used to do it. And hopefully that will fix it. And then that might be a way to do it. But then players have moved on. Time's moved on. The crowd today was abysmal most of the time. I actually tweeted Sky and said, could you put the fake sounds back on? Because this is embarrassing. But as a manager, Arteta is a tinker. He's like a modern day tinker, man. I don't know if he's ever put the same back-to-back 11 out game after game, be it whether he's not done it for injury because of different competitions or whatever the reason is. But it must occur to him sometimes, hold on, how can basically the same squad that was doing so well when he took over and winning the stuff that he won, be there now and nothing is working. What is the thing? And he's just constantly fiddles with it. And his substitutions are getting a little bit earlier. Some of them he's leaving too late. Like, what was it, the 79th minute or the 82nd minute when Maitland-Niles came on? You're thinking, well, why have you waited that long to do it? But it's going to have to be go back to what worked and stick with it. You can't go for one game and then take it out. So Aubameyang left, Lacazette up front, Pepe on the right. And if you're going to get Willian, like you were saying, to play in the 10, don't get him to do the Lacazette 8-4, the 4-8-9-10 role, because that he can't do that. That's not his game. You need to do the kind of 10 that Ozil was doing. You stand there. You have a radius of about 4 square meters. You stay there and you make other people look great with your vision and your ability to put the ball through. But that wouldn't have worked today, because every time we had the ball, Burnley had 8 players and a goalkeeper rammed in that area and trying to push us wide every time. So when the players have got the ball, they're going, apart from that one time with Aubameyang, when he did pass it, when there's only 2 players in front of him, our players are probably, or Arteta, or the players are probably thinking, well, we can't go through the middle. There's no room to go through the middle. People have found out what Arteta does. We can't let them have the ball, because if we do let them have the ball, which is when Arteta first took over, his plan was very little possession, get them on the break. Now we can't do any of it. All the tricks that Arteta used to do, like he's been there for years, all the stuff that he does, none of it is working. And go back to what works. You've got all the same players in virtually the same positions, but then it may be something bigger than that. I don't know.
Well, what can we say? It's just like, I don't really know where we kind of go from there. I suppose
we've adapted our game, haven't we, for Willian a little bit. I don't want to pick on Willian, but we have changed the style that we play.
I think one thing
it's solely Willian, though. I think it was he got his results with the back 3. Xhaka was more protected in that, which is why he played better. And also, Arteta didn't really have a lot of choices as for centre mids. And look, it's quite clear, like there were players who drastically improved under Arteta when he came in. Xhaka, Mustafi did before his injury. You know, and they won us the FA Cup. It was amazing. We beat United, City, Liverpool. It was ridiculous. Chelsea. You know, so it was unbelievable results. Then he's tried to go to the back 4, which is what everyone always wanted. And unfortunately, and I was one of those who wanted it, we don't necessarily have the players to do it at the moment. It is the big issue. Like Cactus from our pod says, you know, we have also stopped pressing. I think that's slightly to do with the system we're playing. Also, I think Aubameyang through the middle, we're not going to press as much. You know, as much as I rag on Lacazette, the one thing he did do really well from the front was press and push up so high. So I don't know.
The answer then to go back to 3 at the back. We've only got 1 player out injured. In fact, we've got more players suspended than we've got injured at the moment. I think Partey's the only injured one, isn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
We've got quite a few injuries. I was having a look at it. We're only second. We're only second to Liverpool for most injuries this season.
Yeah, but it was on the bloke the journalist who writes for Goal. I know that's
well, Luiz is injured still. Maitland-Niles is obviously still coming back. Kolasinac and Reece Nelson picked up an injury, didn't he? I think.
Well, that's his YouTube thing.
Head.
Yeah,
he said we've only got 1 injury, but he's wrong.
But that's a few of those are short-term ones. Obviously, Maitland-Niles is a long way back. I would not, as much as I want to see Martinelli back in the team, I really don't want to see him back until January, because I don't want him rushed back way too quick.
And we have a habit of doing that.
Yeah, and we've got a big habit of doing that, and that's a lot of pressure.
Which is what another trait that Arteta does that Wenger used to do, constantly bringing people back early. He's done it with one person, but we all thought, even Simon Lequiff said that when I messaged him in the group, I said, what can we expect? He said, Partey on the bench. And then Partey started. I thought, not good.
I think on that one, that was a risk that, you know, because we're in such a terrible bout of form at the moment, that if you played Partey and we won, even if you only got 45 minutes out of him, people wouldn't care. That was enough for us to get a win in the North London derby. No one would have said that was a problem at all. Yeah. It was a risk for reward. If we were going to win that game, it was because Partey played.
Yeah,
because we weren't going to win it without him. And you could see that from the first half. We should have arguably put the game to bed in the first half if we weren't so shit. and forgot that if you just let them pass to Harry Kane, he's then just going to knock it over the top to Son every single fucking time. So yeah, should we move on to some questions? Because I think we'll put the result kind of behind us, but it's always going to linger there like a bad smell across the rest of the week until we play Southampton.
We're on form. Theo hat-trick, as someone put.
Oh dear. We will say one positive from the game though. That is our second win on the bounce on XG. We did outscore Burnley in that regard.
Good. We get points.
I don't know. I hope so. In the XG table, we're top.
I think it was 1.9 to 0.8, maybe something like that. I think on XG again. Which again, Arteta is. I know people hate stats and stuff, but he's right. We got the ball in the correct positions, but again, we didn't finish.
Yeah, and I don't think
you can only stick players and put them in the right position, tell them what to do. They've got to finish it on the pitch. So I think if Aubameyang does better with his header, there was Holding had a good chance. Saka had a wicked shot that he just created out of nothing for himself. Lacazette fluffed one. He got another on target, but again wasn't strong enough.
Well, that's what I shouted in the first half. Sean and their mum were here. I mean, we could be 4-0 up by now, just in the first half. Goalkeeper.
I do think the performance was better, and then the moment we conceded the goal, our heads kind of just went because the form at the moment is so poor in terms of results that you're just going to lose it if you're on that team.
Yeah. Let's move on to questions. Dani, would you like to do the questions?
Okie dokie. Cheers, John, putting them all in there. That's a statement. Sergio Gutierrez, John, says, Arteta is out of his depth. What do you guys reckon? Is it all gotten a little bit too much for him?
I think any first-time manager, you can get a big club as such and be successful, and he obviously has because he's already won a trophy or two if you count the Community Shield. But what I feel sorry for Arteta with is the state the squad's in, as we've already said. I don't think he's making it easy for himself. I do think there are some selections that are questionable. Like tonight, do you just play Ceballos and Elneny instead of playing Xhaka? And the thing is, with this game, Xhaka didn't do anything wrong up until that red card, and he had a stupid moment. Now, Pepe had a stupid moment. Ceballos almost had a stupid moment with Nketiah, his own teammates. There's nothing to say that he might not have done the same thing. Elneny could have been sent off as well. So those sort of things you can't really control. I get people's shout for Willian not playing, but he basically had no one else to play wide. Nelson injured, Pepe suspended. You haven't got anyone else. I would have preferred to see Willian through. Like I said, I only want to see Willian at 10 if he's going to play. I wouldn't play him wide. I don't particularly rate Cedric. I don't think he's any better than Bellerin is. And for all the people calling for Maitland-Niles, I like Maitland-Niles. He's very cool. Don't get me wrong. He can take a wicked penalty, but the boy's passing is not good enough. Sorry. And his positional play is garbage. The reason he got picked at fullback in all those cup games is because despite his positional play being pretty bad, he's really fucking quick, so at least he can recover. And it was in a different
Bellerin of old.
Yeah, and it was in a different system as well when you're playing free at the back, so you can afford to kind of have that lack of positional sense at least because he's concentrating more on going forward. So I wouldn't say he's out of his depth. I would say that what he hasn't got is enough credit in the bank to get through a really difficult period like this.
Fair enough. Right, one for all of us quickly. Gunner 10, Josh. Would we take Poch? I wouldn't. Fuck off.
I wouldn't take Pochettino at the moment either. A couple of reasons. One, Spurs were in less of a mess than we were before he got sacked because he couldn't turn it around. What do you make you think he'll turn around the issues we've got as well? He's not that kind of manager.
John?
I would take Pochettino. I think you should stick with Arteta personally. I think you should give Arteta at least a season.
Yeah.
But I think Pochettino's a good manager. I know he was at Spurs, but that whole he was at Spurs thing is all bollocks when someone comes in and does really well. Look at Sol Campbell. So we can all be as two-faced as we want about all these things. I think it's all a load of bollocks, to be fair. But there you go. Some old school Arsenal fans are probably going to go, "Oh, he's not a real Arsenal fan because he's just something vaguely nice about Tottenham Hotspur."
To balance out your Sol Campbell, I'll give you William Gallas. Right, Josh. Question from Amy Gibson. I want to think Arteta will get rid of the crap players in the January transfer window, but why think that when he's choosing to play them? Good point. Because if you want to get rid of players, probably best you don't play them, isn't it? Because then they might want to go.
I think, like I was saying earlier, I think there's something about what we're doing with the first team and what we're doing with the Europa League side, that we're trying to build up the confidence of the Europa League side to eventually get them to replace the players in that first team. I think there's another thing that whilst you're playing, if we want to get rid of so many players, which we do, you do need to play some of them just so you can get in a shop window. Because if nobody, Granit Xhaka doesn't play at all, who's going to come in and give him a reasonable bid? Someone, if at least he's playing, there's going to be a statistic that he comes out well in that somebody's looking for. Like at the moment, I think he's played the most number. It's the second most number of passes into the final third in the entire Premier League. Now, whilst it's not very helpful that he does that for us because we're not doing anything with that ball when it's in the final third, that's besides the point. Someone will look at that though and go, right, we need that. And they'll come in and we'll go, oh, you need that? Well, we're playing them every week, so we're going to ask for more money. We're not always the best at getting how much we need. And whilst, it's a let's play the kids thing, I don't agree that's the thing we should do at this level. Europa League is very much a different level to Premier League. We saw how easily we can brush away and how much time and space we have against the like of Dundalk and Rapid Vienna and Mulder. We had so much more time, which is why we could brush these teams aside. We'd also say some of them gave us problems as well. Mulder, I think it was at the Emirates. They made us look shaky for the first first half of that game. So I wouldn't say it's a complete solves it by putting Ainsley Maitland-Niles in midfield and Cedric at right back and Kolasinac at left back, because I assume that's not what we're referring to when we play the Europa League squad. We can put in that awful goalkeeper we've got that we bought in from the French. I can't even remember where he was. It was Dijon.
Spina.
Oh,
Yeah. Gunner, how dare you?
Oh my God! He looks like he's, he got his.
He's a midget Ospina. He is a midget Ospina. It's amazing. I have never seen such a short goalkeeper in my life.
I think he got his goalkeeper gloves from the back of a cereal packet. He just doesn't look like a goalkeeper in any sense of the word. Chris will defend him, and he tries to defend him because he came from the French league, but the guy doesn't know how to catch a ball. He's very good with his feet, but doesn't do anything else. Anything goalkeeper shaped. Anyway.
Josh.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's exactly what I need. So maybe give Renison a chance in our midfield because we're obviously short there, and if he's good with his feet, it'll be all right. But yeah, to get back to what the question was, I think it's going to take us a while to clear out a lot of players. So yeah, I think it's that thing that we need to do. We need to clear them out first, and for me, that's why I've got faith in the manager.
Good. John, Phil Macker, seriously, is our priority now to just get some results from anywhere and stay above the bottom three? Well, we all know Sheffield United are going down. There's no way they're going to pull that round. And the other teams down there is Fulham, who should have won today. Handball my fucking arse. So what do we just go scrappy? Do we throw everything out and just go, right, we need to get draws away from home and wins at home and try and do that?
The thing is, if you don't finish in a European place in the league, then all you have to do is not finish in the bottom three. because the difference in money is so negligible. It doesn't fucking matter. Honestly, it really genuinely would not make a huge difference to a club like Arsenal. Yes, I know we complain we do not have as much money as other teams, but it's only a couple of million. It's not a huge difference. I don't think we're going to finish in a European spot. I said, I think at the start of the season that we might scrape it, but I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't like it's nailed on. So for me, this season was, I wasn't thinking don't get relegated. I mean, I'm still not thinking that. I think it's ridiculous. The team's worse than us, and it will turn around. It's not going to carry on like this the whole fucking season. Seriously. My hope was decent cup run, and maybe we get some lucky draws in terms of opponents in either the Europa League or the FA Cup, and we might be able to win one. That was my hope for the season. So yeah, you just do that. If you finish bottom half of the table, doesn't matter. It will look bad. Yeah, sure, it looks bad. It's not going to change anything in terms of what we can go out and buy or anything else. It makes no difference.
True. JW says Aubameyang is Burnley's second highest goal scorer this season now. There you go. If you can't laugh, you can't cry, you got to laugh. Josh, Mr. DJs. Says news about Saliba being surplus true. Do you want to tell people a little bit about the alleged was it Instagram conversation?
I don't think the Instagram post was alleged. I think that definitely happened. But what people have been reading into it with their Google Translate degrees in French have ascertained is that he was a bit. I think he described, himself and Guendouzi's situation as being locked up by that guy. Who knows what that means? I'm assuming it means the fact that Saliba is not playing for our first team at the moment, and Guendouzi was kicked out for being a twat. I think there's no other way of saying Guendouzi was leaving for that reason, because this, that is the story. Guendouzi was a twat, so we got rid of him. Do I think that he might leave, or is he surplus to requirements? Well, we've gone through how we've got 1 million centre-backs on the book. 3 of them are leaving in the summer that take his position of right-sided centre-back. That still leaves Callum Chambers and Rob Holding, for him to get, push out of the way. And we've said, Arteta has already said it was a mistake. Nobody realised that Pablo Mari was going to relapse in his injury. Reconditioning. So, if he knew that Mari was only going to come back now, of course, Saliba would have been in the Europa League squad. Saliba is in the Premier League squad purely because of the fact he's young enough, and we put them in the list of 1 million youngsters that can go there. But I think if Saliba didn't realise he was coming in to fight for his place in this squad, then he can go fuck off somewhere else. A bit like if he's got the mentality of Guendouzi and thinks he's already made it because he's got to a Premier League side, then no, sorry, he can fuck off back to France. If you think you're that good, it doesn't matter if you're the next hottest thing, French wonder kid. Fine, we'll put a great sell-on clause when we sell you. See you later. We haven't got time to be dealing with people having these kind of problems and causing a fuss. We don't need that negativity in the dressing room. If you don't want to be here, fine, go. Because we need to do a clear out anyway. And we can happily add you to the list of people Edu is currently trying to get rid of across Europe. And yeah.
There you go. John, thoughts on Thunder Road? Chris Carpenter's duvets are better than John Welsh's duvets. Is your duvet game lacking?
Tonight I'm rocking the white and Mexican skull thing that's going on. It's very exciting. Lots of skulls. There's hearts on it as well. So it's the 2 things I like: love and death.
My new ones have got hedgehogs on.
Well, there you go.
Dani,
yes, I don't have any velvet or silk sheets like Mr. Carpenter.
Nobody does.
Silk, you end up just sliding off the other side of the bed. There you go.
Yes. Fair enough. Right, next question. Where was it? Done this one. Film Maca. Someone's I did.
The Saliba one. Avon Teddington, I think, was the next one.
Oh, there are a few others, but I'm scrolling down. I can't see them. Avon Teddington, John. Should we place our faith in Edu for the January transfer window?
Whether we should have faith in him or not, I've got no idea. So I really don't know. Like, I hope Edu works out because he was a really good player for the club, and I was really sad when he did leave. Whether he's gonna be good enough, I've got no idea. If, say, we had, I don't know, like a certain guy by the name of Ralph in charge of director of football, I'd be a lot more confident. Let me put it that way. But yeah, I do think they'll go and do something in January. So just fingers crossed it's the right one.
Angry War Chicken has sent us something with a little love heart. We've had a couple of people, Josh, that have joined. Oh, we've had 3 people that have joined our Twitch tonight. Stoofer Floofers, which sounds something like who's the bloke with the bald head and the big collars? What's his name?
Harry Hill.
Harry Hill. Stu Fluffers sounds like something he would say. Brian Judd 1970, a fellow 1970er there. An Angry War Chicken. And Angry has capitalised Angry and War and Chicken, first letters of each. That is the kind of username that I like. That or underscores. Right, so yeah, cheers everyone. Right, I found the other question. Josh, I'm all for all of us. Jim Howson, friend of the pod, says, what happens first? Mikel walks or he gets the sack? John, then Josh.
He goes by mutual agreement because they will not publicly sack him and he will not publicly walk. It will be, Mikel, I think it's time you go. And he probably says, oh yeah, maybe it is. And they do a mutual agreement thing. But essentially, he's been sacked. But that will be what happens first. But I don't think they're going to sack him this season.
I think he goes on to bigger and better things, basically. I think that's probably what happens, realistically.
That's any club, really. Almost any club in the league.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is, though. I think we don't sack him, basically. He doesn't walk. He stays with us for another season, probably another 2 afterwards, builds something with us. And then from there, someone more interesting comes a knocking at his door in the shape of Barcelona. And he goes there.
Yeah. Or maybe if Everton keep splurging money, you never know.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I agree with both of you. I don't want him to go. I don't think he's going to go. I think they've got more sense than just we're not going to become a team that sacks the manager every time something goes wrong. He's shown he can do it, and he'll hopefully do it again, but he needs to get his own players and stop having bloody injuries to his star signings. Right, Josh, this is a question from Julian Salmondo, our Peruvian correspondent, who is a member, says, who do you think the transfer window now being so close is helping Arteta keep his job, along the lines of what we've just been talking about?
Yeah, I think so. And the lack of any realistic replacement for him. Because as we said previously, we're not the most exciting prospect at the moment. There's a huge project that he's doing. And to be honest, if we're going to rebuild a squad, you probably want a manager in. You don't want to keep changing the manager basically to rebuild the squad. If you're like, say, Chelsea, who can sack a manager every 18 months, that's fine because the squad is decent, and they can do that with an extra, new manager coming in and out, and they can slowly build that. They had a decent base to start with. We don't have a decent foundation, so get the squad into a place, and then we can start. If we do, go on a similar run. Is then to get, the likes of Arteta out, and he's clearly got a pull with certain players. He clearly said something to Thomas Partey for him to join. Although
I think it might have been a suitcase. Has something to do with it.
Suitcase, and if we do have to give players a lot of suitcases for them to turn up, and they do a lot better than the other players that we've been paying suitcases worth of money to. Then
no names mentioned.
So be it. I'm going to say Kolasinac just to mix it up a bit.
Oh, look at you, cheeky. Right, we have got 2 more questions and then a podcast ending statement. First of all, one from Chris for me. Am I allowed on the pod again? Of course you are, sweetheart, because we all know you're my favourite. It's not I say that to be nice to him. Right, one for you, John. Mike Hertz, also a member, says, does Guendouzi deal include a callback option just in case we do get a new manager? Because God knows he's not coming back to play under Arteta anytime soon.
I don't know the ins and outs of the deal, but normally there is no recall option on most loans now.
Yeah.
Be like some extreme circumstance where like our entire midfield died of COVID or something to be able to activate it. So no, I don't think there will be a recall option in it. I don't know for sure, but I'm like 90% that wouldn't be the case.
Okay, final question before we go on to the last bit is for you, Josh, from Fatality Carmelian. I heard Antonio Conte might be available in the summer. If I much prefer him over Allegri, thoughts? Well, we're Inter Milan fans, John, aren't we? And Inter Milan are an absolute goddamn mess. And what he has done, he's gone to the Premier League on the players list and gone, all the players that are over 40, and they're coming close to 40, I want them all to come and play for Inter Milan.
Josh. Yeah, before Josh has his say, if you want Conte, if you don't like old players, you don't want Conte. Also, if you want to win a European trophy, you do not want Antonio Conte. There's my... Go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
It's not easy.
That's fine. And if you want interesting football, you don't want Antonio Conte. He is basically an Italian Tony Pulis who, instead of spending his money on baseball caps, got his hair done instead.
But he's not a tapas Pulis, though, is he, if Lee's watching? Hello, Lee. God knows, someone's going to kill you one day. You were.
Wow, that's dark.
I mean, metaphorically, not physically, because that would be wrong.
Cool. That would be wrong. Yeah, it's the one of, if you think we play boring football now, and if you think we played boring football under Emery, then yeah, it's going to be more like the boring Emery football than the Arteta one. At least I think what helps us with Arteta is not only the little credit of the fact that he is an ex-player from us, is also that you can see he wants to play progressive football with us. And like I say, with Conte winning the league with that Chelsea squad wasn't fucked. You know, when he took over, that was a Chelsea squad that Mourinho got fucking bored at and went, oh, you know what I could really do with? Nice new house in Surrey somewhere, but I can't afford it at the moment. Oh, I know what. I'll get sacked. So I'll bum Chelsea down. We'll finish. Look, they were about this position, weren't they, when he got sacked and he was just shouting at everyone. They were about 16th, 17th. They didn't get European football and Conte had to concentrate on playing 40 games in a league season. That's how he won the league that year. And it was fucking boring if you watched it. The only player that did anything ever for them was Eden Hazard. So,
He's
yeah.
broken.
Exactly. I would allow Conte to come in if he brings Lukaku with him.
Oh, what a player that man is. I said that Angry War Chicken followed. He not only followed, he subscribed a 1 month for tier 1, not even a prime sub.
Oh, wow.
He used his own hard-earned cash. Thank you, War Chicken, he or she, or both, or neither, or Alien. ABW takes no responsibility if someone does beat Lee Gunner to within an inch of his life, or the entire Arsenal midfield die of COVID. We just said something. We didn't make it happen. It's not our fault.
Oh, of course, the other reason I'd want Lukaku because it would really upset Chris.
Yes, I love Lukaku. Is a magnificent footballer, and imagine him with all those crosses. We'd win every game about 9-0 as he's barging people out of the way, scoring 50 a season. Magnificent. But the final thing in here says, ending question from Daytak LBC. What the fuck, Arsenal? Yeah.
I thought it was a really good question to end on. Yeah.
I think that is just the perfect question.
Should I do the spiel? Should I do my spiel?
I can do the spiel, or do you want to do the spiel?
Oh, go on. I want to hear Josh do the spiel.
Oh, it's awkward in every sense of the word. But if you would like to subscribe, because you've missed the start of this, you can subscribe. If you've come in here and you thought, you know what, there's 242 of you at the moment. At 240, so it's dropping by the minute. But give us a like. If you don't like what we're doing, give us a dislike. Because you know what? We're not always great.
Rarely.
As we said, as Gabriel told us earlier, we've done at least maybe 2 pieces of content ever in our ABW career. 700 shows, 2 of them are reasonable. And both of those had the Goonaholic on it. That's what we definitely know. Yeah, so you can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can subscribe to us on Twitch, which when I did what was that podcast called? The Soccer Social.
You were very good
Monday.
on that.
Thank you.
Did we get a fee?
I didn't get any fee. I should have asked, really.
Damn.
Oh, well. I did it for the exposure, or they did it so I didn't expose. It's one of the two. I can't remember.
Don't say exposure when Chris is in the chat.
Exactly.
You're getting excited again.
Yeah, so they were very impressed that we were on Twitch. So yeah, get in there, kids. Cowabunga. And you can do all of the things on there. Hit notification stuffs. Go to iTunes. Give us a review. The funnier the review, we might read them out as well. Because
look at this one. Look at that message.
Oh yeah.
Well,
You can follow at least 98% of us on Twitter. I think
Chris.
Yeah, you can't follow Chris. You can follow him in real life. Don't worry. Every other day on Instagram, he will post his location in Plymouth somewhere, so you can find him. Occasionally, his run route is posted on there as well, so you could also do that and stand on there. And don't hurl abuse at Chris though. Just say nice things because it unsettles him. That's better. Don't say he's a shit and he loves French players because he'll just say something too nice. But yeah, what else can I say about it?
Hit the bell icon and then when we go live.
Hit the bell icon. So just before you're thinking about, I don't know, doing something silly because Arsenal have been horrible, you can come here and watch 3 other people talk nonsense. Maybe 2 of us, maybe just me on my own talking at people. What can you say?
But if you write reviews and they're funny,
Yeah.
you read them out because, let's be honest, it's going to be more entertaining than talking about Arsenal at the moment because it's fucking miserable. You know what you should do, Danny? You start reviewing TikTok videos. That's all the rage now. I've heard about that TikTok thing. Apparently it's quite good. I don't know.
Does it have boobs on it? Is that why you know about it?
Yeah, allegedly it does have boobs on it, yeah.
Martin Vargas won from our Periscope. Hello, Periscope. Thank you for joining.
Right. Yeah, we're on that as well, Periscope.
Follow on Periscope. It works out that we had 5,000 views on Periscope 2 pods ago, and we got 1 follower. That's what I call quality. He says, how many managers will get sacked because of these players? Well, 3 so far. I don't know if Lundberg counts. Well, Wenger and Lundberg count, but yeah, Kolasinac has a lot to answer for. So does Xhaka.
Yeah, what can I say? Other than Dani, I think that's it, unless John wants to do a spiel better.
No, I mean, that's probably enough spiel for everyone. I don't know. Do we still have a
yes, we do.
A thing?
Yeah.
We've got a thing, the Manscaped thing,
that's
on all the podcasts that everyone gets. You can get money off for shaving your balls or your lady parts if you want to shave them. If you're a female,
or your nose as well.
Yeah.
You can do it with the nose.
Yeah.
They've got the mustache.
They've got the head thing. They've got the ball one. They've got the all the stuff. I got sent one. It's very good. The underwear.
Lawnmower 3.0, 90 minutes of charge.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right.
At some point, we will read out the names of them properly and do them justice. But yeah, you can get a discount. And there you go. You get 20% off.
Yeah.
20%. It's ridiculous.
It's very good. Someone pointed out. Go on, Josh.
I was going to say, if you want to get the Ball Buzzer 3000, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If there are other products that you want to get money off, just tweet that company and say, hey, there's this podcast that loads of, just lie about how many people watch. Don't tell them it's like 200, it's like 10,000. And then they'll contact us and we can get you a discount. It's great. Works out for everyone.
That should work. And someone made a point in the chat earlier on that since we've been sponsored by Manscaped, we've not won a game in the league.
However, final note, this is the best ending. We talked about this the other day. I always forget to change my fantasy football team from the start of the season, and the players end up injured or suspended or leave the league, and I haven't replaced them. I put Aubameyang in my team from the start of the season, so it was my fault he wasn't scoring goals. I removed him before this weekend's game. And what happens? He scored a goal.
Well, there you go, Josh. What a brilliant way to end the show. Aubameyang scoring at last.
Yeah.
Exactly. The drought has ended. Things can only get better. We just need to turn him around the right way at half time and say, Aubameyang, it's that goal, you twat. Right,
we go.
Dani, turn this shit off.
Indeed.